Welcome into Dome at Home Live, presented by FedEx. We're in Philadelphia, where your Saints hope to stay on top of the NFC, where the Eagles hope to keep their playoff hopes alive. I'm Caroline Gonzalez here in the beautiful city of New Orleans, and coming up on Dome at Home Live, we'll have a one-on-one breakdown with Saints legend Deuce Mcallister. We'll also have an exclusive one-on-one interview with Saints tight end Jared Cook. Throughout the entire show, we'll be giving you a look inside Lincoln Financial Field for our pregame warm-ups presented by FedEx. But first, we want to bring in DeShazier for our countdown to kickoff presented by Waiter. JD, first of all, how's the weather there?
Right now, fabulous, and we think it's going to stay that way. Probably a high around 60 or so for kickoff. Maybe winds around 10 miles per hour, but you couldn't ask for a whole lot more in Philadelphia this time of year.
Biggest news coming out of Saints camp: Drew Brees is not going to return for the Saints this week. It is still Taysom Hill at the reins for the Saints. JD, where would you like to see Taysom Hill improve this week?
Well, I think he's going to have to improve throwing the football, because Philadelphia is a team that gets after the passer. So they're going to put some pressure on him, and by that they can rush with their front four. They don't necessarily need to send a lot of blitzes, so they can get back in coverage. He's going to have to probably be patient. Now, there will be some opportunities for him to run, because he does add that element to the Saints offense, obviously, but I think he's going to have to show some of the patience that he showed last week against the Falcons.
Teron Armstead back on the line for the Saints. How much does that help things up front for the offensive line and the psyche of Taysom Hill?
Immensely. Philly has 38 sacks this season. They've got 3 guys across the front line on the defensive line who have 5.5 sacks at least. So having Teron Armstead back gives you that anchor on the left side. And I know James Hurst played well in his absence, but you need to have a Teron Armstead. He's an all-pro and a Pro Bowler for a reason. So having him back obviously protects that blind side of Taysom Hill, has to give him more confidence.
Jalen Hurts getting his first NFL start as a rookie. New edge, new life for this Eagles team, but he'll be behind an offensive line that is without starting offensive lineman, Jason Peters. How much do you think the Saints defensive line can take advantage today?
Well, they're going to be looking forward to it. Philly has given up 53 sacks. Let me say that again, 53. So, you know the Saints want to get after Jalen Hurts. They want to keep him in the pocket. They want to make him a passer. He's a guy who's a little bit more mobile than Carson Wentz. He's been prone to run, but he can be sacked, especially behind this offensive line, and you expect the Saints to get after him. The Saints have 36 sacks themselves, so you believe that they should be able to get after the passer in this one. You want to put the pressure on that young guy, make him throw a couple up for grabs, hopefully.
All right, a reminder that fans can watch the game at 3:25 Central on Fox. Thanks so much, JD. We'll check back with you in just a bit. Let's check in with some Saints fans who are getting ready for game day in the Black and Gold Roll Call presented by Zatarans.
I'm Alexander from Ankara, Slovenia, repping the Who Dat Nation from Europe. Can't wait to see our boys get another Super Bowl ring. Until then, let's go Saints.
Hello, I'm Dylan Kelly. I'm from Green River, Wyoming. I have to say, go Saints!
Liam, Jasmine, Laveri, the Saints.
Who Dat Saints fans? This is Crystal from Denham Springs, Louisiana. Stay masked up and stay safe.
What's up, y'all? So it's your girl Mariah, straight from Louisiana, saying let's go Saints and let's go hard.
The Saints secured their playoff spot, the first NFL team to do so. Let's take a look at how they secured that spot by taking a look back at last week's win over the Falcons in the WWL Black and Gold Recap. It was time to break out the brooms in Atlanta after the Saints pulled off a sweep against the Falcons. Of course, it wouldn't be an NFC South clash without a little drama. Taysom Hill had his most complete game yet as a starting quarterback, throwing his first passing touchdown since 2016 when he played for BYU. He was 27 of 37 for 232 yards and a pair of passing touchdowns. He also had a red zone fumble that helped put Atlanta back in the game in the fourth quarter. But the Saints' defense showed why it's number 1 in the league, making a crucial red zone stop inside of 2 minutes. The final score for this one, 21-16. Up next, it's the Philadelphia Eagles, who still have a shot at capturing the division title crown. That means you can expect them to bring a lot of motivation to Sunday's matchup. A banged-up offensive line has contributed to some of the struggles we've seen from quarterback Carson Wentz, but the Eagles have ranked near the bottom of the league offensively for much of the season. But that defensive front four is a talented unit that is among the best in the NFL at generating pressure. Here's what the Saints have to say about the matchup in the Bo's Soundbites of the Week.
I felt like we played really well at every position. I felt like our line did a great job up front, the run game, the pass game, and especially early, we were really good on third down. So it's really happy with that. Certainly, there are some things that we could clean up as a whole. There were certain things that I could have done better. But overall, I thought we played pretty well.
Just talking about DeMario, like, not even, I exclude the football field. We know all the things he does on the football field. I'm talking about off the field. I mean, dude is a family man, great father. Like he says, he's a nominee for Man of the Year. I mean, he practices what he preaches day in and day out. Somebody you can talk to, count on to give you some guidance, man, and just give you some pointers in life. I'm leaving out the football, like I said. He's just a great person to talk to, outstanding individual. And he deserves that for sure. And I mean, I know it's times I've talked to him about, a plethora of things, and his insight and his standpoint on certain issues and topics is very interesting. And I mean, it's somebody that is like the definition of a role model for sure.
I mean, for me, I got cut by the Eagles, and as a free agent, there really wasn't many places I wanted to go. At this point in my career, I wanted to play for a team that I can contend with, that has a good locker room and a good culture. And obviously no better team than that than the Saints in my book. Somewhere that's very familiar, know the staff, know the city, and a lot of people that are here know what they're about. And so, if I wasn't going to, finish off in Philadelphia, then, the Saints is obviously my best option, and a decision that I'm glad happened.
I think anytime you have to prepare for a different quarterback, and you don't have a lot of tape, it kind of puts you in limbo, kind of the same situation we were in when we were getting ready to play Denver. You don't know. It's kind of, you have to be ready for what you've seen them do, and you have to kind of have a little bit of planning for the unexpected. And so there is a little bit of tape on Hurts, so we're able to watch that and kind of get a feel. But at the same time, their coach is very creative. He knows how to, use the different guys that he has and put them in situations where they'll be successful. So we have to be ready for that.
Well, we know what this matchup looks like on paper, but we all know that things can change drastically between the lines. So joining us now is Saints legend Deuce Mcallister for the breakdown presented by NOLA Lending. Deuce, first of all, thanks for joining us today. Second, if you were in that locker room today with Jalen Hurts, if you were Miles Sanders, what would you be saying to your rookie starting quarterback?
I would basically be letting him know that I'm his best friend, that, hey, look, you can always look for me. I'm going to be the guy that's going to be available. Even if that's not necessarily the case, you want to be that outlet for him, kind of that best friend in a sense on the football field. And so just to be able to keep his confidence up, when something negative happens, being able to tell him, hey, look, we got this, we can keep moving forward, and just let him know that you're available as a back.
Quarterback Taysom Hill starting again for the Saints. We've really seen him improve quarter by quarter, game by game for the Saints. Deuce, how do you think, if any, will Sean Payton maybe change up the way he's used Taysom Hill in this game?
I think you can also always look for a subtle tweak, things that they do, tweaks as far as offensively is concerned. You can always say, hey, look, Taysom, you did this a little bit better last week or 2 weeks ago. We're going to go back to this play, this formation, some different things like that. I think it's always about the improvement, week to week as far as a quarterback is concerned. And then how can I get my other playmakers involved? I think that's going to be critical. You don't want Taysom to feel like everything is on his shoulders, that he has to be able to carry the load for this team to be successful. Really, honestly, he just has to get the ball to the playmakers and then let those guys go out there and do their job.
Have there been any, coaching tips or anything that you could provide to Taysom Hill to work with him through practice this week to work on that ball security?
Well, it's just the little things as far as the fundamentals are concerned. Really, you want to probably spend a little bit more time with the running backs as far as sometimes when he is carrying the football, and you talk about the pressure points, the 4 points as far as pressure on the football, and just being really cognizant of that, when I am carrying the football and knowing that I have to carry it high and tight and basically be able to just squeeze it. You always want to feel it. And the other thing I think that you understand that's a little bit different from him is when you turn into the runner, you have to know and understand where guys are and just understanding when I'm getting hit, what to expect, different things of that nature. And so there's some little subtle things that they can do with him. They've worked on him this week, and it's just doing some ball security drills that normally a quarterback wouldn't be doing. But since he does turn into a runner so much, there's some things that they can work on, and they have been able to do those this week.
Well, not only is Taysom Hill going to be a running quarterback, Jalen Hurts on the other side for the Eagles. How do you think the Saints defense is going to have to approach Jalen Hurts and his mobility this week?
I really think that they go back and they look at some of the film that they had with Kyler Murray last year, because that's who he puts you in the mind of as far as the mold of. I think that he throws an outstanding deep ball. That's one of the things that he does really well when you talk about the go route. I think what the Saints want to do is keep him in the pocket. Make him be a pocket passer. Hey, look, Philly will use some rollouts. They'll do some different things of that nature. But for the Saints, really for those defensive ends, it's not so much as far as closing the pocket for the quarterback, but they want to really collapse the pocket. And what I mean by that, you need pressure inside. You don't necessarily need pressure from the outside. If you do come with the outside blitz, know that you have to keep contained. You want to keep him inside that tackle box and make him be a packet passer.
That was a tongue twister if I've ever heard one, Deuce. Way to get through that one. We heard Sean Payton earlier this week talk about Alvin Kamara and a play that they ran in last week's game, and how Alvin Kamara really just kind of talked about that himself with Sean Payton. I wonder, did you ever have a conversation with that with Sean Payton to kind of formulate your own play?
I don't know about creating my own play, but I would always tell Sean, hey, look, we can go back to this play. I do like this play against this defense. Even during the week, Sean will ask you, hey, look, what plays do you like? What are you seeing against this defense? And then just to remind him during the game, hey, coach, we can go back to power out of this formation. And that's really what Alvin did. He saw how that Atlanta defense was playing a certain formation and how Taysom had scored on it. And so the next thing that they do is just they give a simple tweak to that play, where this time it's same formation, except they hand it to Alvin, and Alvin basically he walks into the end zone with a little, a couple guys trying to tackle him. But it's just Sean listening to his players, understanding what they see, and being able to just tweak some things, and you have some success with it.
I love that Alvin immediately looked back to Sean and was like, it worked, we did it. It was fantastic. Deuce, talking about this Saints-Eagles game, if you had 3 keys for the Saints to secure a win today against the Eagles, what would those keys be?
I think the Saints have to play to their strengths, and that's really in the trenches. Whether you talk about offensive line and defensive line, that's where the Saints have to be able to win this game. The Saints have to be able to run the football. This Eagles defense has given up, 100-yard rushings to, I think it's 6 out of the last 9 games. The Saints have to be able to go north of 140 yards rushing the football and also protecting the football. This is one way that this Eagles team can stay in a football game if the Saints are turning the football over. So to avoid those turnovers will be critical. This Eagles defense has not, been great as far as interceptions are concerned. I think the Saints have to continue to take shots. And the other thing that they can't allow themselves to do, it's really a 1A, 1B type of situation. You can't have 10 penalties, and then you can't give up the explosive plays. That is the other way that this Eagles offense or team can stay in this football game. So when it really boils down to it, Saints team just play who they are. Just be who they are as far as the team is concerned, and you should be victorious today.
All right, Deuce, well, we appreciate you joining us for the breakdown presented by NOLA Lending. Good luck on the call today on WWL.
Thank you for having me.
Let's go back to Philadelphia for more on today's Saints vs. Eagles game. JD, Saints tight end Jared Cook has seen a slight dip in his numbers over the past few weeks, but that doesn't mean he can't have a big game against the Eagles, who are 5th worst in catching rate among opposing tight ends.
Jared Cook is always possibly one of the guys who can break out for the Saints. You know that the Saints like to go with the tight ends, especially with Drew Brees. In this game, you'll have Michael Thomas back, so he's a guy that you have to pay special attention to if you're Philadelphia, and that could open up some lanes for Jared Cook, who, as you mentioned, doesn't have the numbers that he's accustomed to having, but certainly is capable of breaking out on this game against Philadelphia. Jared, you guys are nearing another division title. Just what's this run been like? 9 straight wins. The offense has, had some ups and downs, and you lose Drew Brees, you pick right up, and you still continue to win games. What's this run been like for you?
I think it shows kind of the resilience of this team. This 2 years in a row being able to fight through the obstacles that we have to be able to get the first in the division and continue to fight for better. It shows the collectiveness of this team, everybody being on one page, and even though that we get into tough fights and tough battles out there on the field, the whole goal of everything is to win the game. And we've proved that every hard game we've been in, we've come out on top, and the plan is to continue to do that. And it's just no matter what situation you're put in, you be resilient, and you go out there and you do your job to the best of your ability to help the team win.
I tell you what, Jared, you guys went through a 4-game stretch where 2 of the games you won in overtime. You won the 4 games by combined 15 points. How does that toughen up a team for the stretch run?
Those experiences that you can look back on as kind of an example of how you should perform and finish games. You never want to go into overtime, but sometimes this game does call for overtime. And when you go into overtime, every time we do that, we feel like we're the best team going into it. And we try to prove that and win the game so we're the best team coming out. So it's just examples that prove to us and the people in the locker room, no matter what the doubters outside the building say, it's about the people in the locker room that go out there and execute and come out on top with a win. And that's just an example on what type of strength and toughness that this team has.
I know a couple of weeks ago you said you weren't all that happy with your production. 25 catches, but 5 touchdowns. That means you're catching a touchdown every 5 times you get your hands on the ball. Every 5th time is a touchdown. So I guess we just need to get the ball in your hands a little bit more often so you can build up that ratio, huh?
The stats hit a little bit different from last year, but when you explain it like that, I'll definitely take it.
Jared, we got to notice that baritone voice. And I got to ask you, when you were a kid, was there ever a time where the school called home and you played like you were the male in the house because you had that voice and you might have been in trouble and you kind of got away with it? Have you ever answered the phone and people are like, okay, who is this? How old are you?
Man, you know what? I wish I had the mustard to be able to do that as a kid, but my parents would have probably beat the crap out of me. But I've had a deep voice since high school. One thing my friends always used to say is I always had a deep laugh. My dad had a deep laugh. And I always had a deep laugh just like my dad. So that was the first time I noticed when people would say something in high school is when I would laugh and they'd be like, man, you sound just like your dad. They tell me and my brother that. But I wish I could pretend to be my parents, man. I probably would have got away with a lot more.
Now, Jared, here's an opportunity in this game against Philadelphia to not just win the game, but to wrap up the NFC South again. I know you guys' goals are bigger than that, but what would it mean to wrap up the NFC South again?
It will mean a lot. It's the first step in postseason play and one of our first steps in the goal of the season. And that's to win the division and then win a division again and then win a Super Bowl. So it's just the first step and we got to go do that. We got to go out and attack the goals that we set out to accomplish and actually go finish them. So it's on us.
And that's Jared Cook. We know, as he picked up at the end of last season, he's obviously capable of picking up down the stretch of this season, and the Saints are going to need him as they move further on this season into the playoffs.
Well, JD, huge recognition this week. The Walter Payton Man of the Year award is among the highest honors in the NFL. It recognizes players who go above and beyond for their communities.
Yeah. And the Saints nominee this season embodies the award and the namesake of the award each and every way, on and off the field. Demario Davis, a fantastic family man, a fantastic football player, a fantastic advocate for social justice. We've seen all of these things that he's able to do, and yet maintain a center that allows him to be able to do all of those things seamlessly, Caroline.
For decades, Louisiana's ex-felons on parole or probation have been prohibited from voting. But now that will all change on March 1st, thanks in part to these two New Orleans Saints.
The separation of families at the border struck a chord with Josh Norman and Demario Davis, so they're here trying to make a difference.
They also visited Flint, Michigan to check in on any progress from the water crisis there.
And you're donating proceeds to the families, to the Floyd, Arbery, and Taylor families. Is that correct, Demario?
That is correct. That is correct. We can't afford to just play football and then stay silent on issues that are plaguing our country. And so with these platforms, if stuff is wrong in our country, we can't just stay silent. You know, we have to take accountability for it, call it out, and we can fix it and move on. It's that simple.
I'm a person that got expelled from school. I'm a person that spent time in jail. I'm a person that came from a single parent home, lower class, low income, urban environment. And, you know, sometimes people in those situations think that there's no way out for them. And I want to be that example to them that, you know, overcoming adversity, you can do it. If you put your mind to it, you can achieve it.
Four-man rush, under pressure, and he's taken down. Demario Davis finds his way into the backfield, and the Saints with a big third down stop.
When we signed Demario, we expected to get, you know, a good player. I think what we didn't expect was the type of leader that we were getting.
Inside you! That got to eat! We're going to make it play! Let's go, man! 1, 2, 3!
Look, he almost immediately became a captain of our team and one of the most respected players in our locker room.
You hear so much about, you know, shut up and dribble, or you know, just shut up and play. You know, they want you to just be an athlete, want you to just be an entertainer. But it goes back to football is what I do, is not who I am. At the end of the day, I see the problems that are going on in the world just like the next man. And I want to be the one who works to alleviate that burden. And hopefully it inspires somebody else to do the same thing.
He's passionate about his faith. He's passionate about his family. He's passionate about football. He's passionate about his teammates. He's passionate about the causes that he has supported, including social justice, including standing up for the disenfranchised, including just something as simple as helping out someone who needs a helping hand. So he's just passionate about everything he does, and that's impressive.
You're not going to be able to change the world, or you're not going to be able to save the world, but you can change the life of the person standing right beside you. You can save the life of the person standing right beside you, and that makes a difference. And I think that's the mentality. You never know the person that you're helping, how big their reach or impact may be.
Speaking of the Saints Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee, let's go to Twitter for Look Who's Tweeting, presented by Cox. This first one comes from Demario Davis himself. Man, thank you to the Saints organization for this tremendous honor, and thank you to everyone for your support. With God, all things are possible. Hashtag Walter Payton Man of the Year.
Well, actually, he could flip that around because the Saints are the fortunate ones to have him in the organization. We've heard Mickey Loomis and Sean Payton both say that they didn't know exactly everything that they were going to get in the total package with Demario Davis. We're seeing that he's a fantastic person, a great human being. There's nothing about him to not like, Caroline.
Couldn't agree more, JD. This next one comes from Cam Jordan, who cannot be contained in 140 characters. Put the spotlight on all the work my teammate and friend does off the field, away from the lights. Everybody retweet hashtag Walter Payton Man of the Year challenge.
You know, I like the selflessness of Cam Jordan because he very well could be the Walter Payton Man of the Year candidate for the Saints. He does a ton of work in the community, but by him recognizing what Demario Davis does, it tells you exactly how outstanding Davis is.
Well, fans, you can do your part to support Demario Davis. All you have to do is go onto Twitter and use the hashtag Walter Payton Man of the Year challenge to support Nationwide's 6th annual charity challenge. If Demario Davis wins, he will be able to donate $25,000 to a charity of his choice. So I don't care what you're doing. If you're watching Dome at home on your phone, be sure to do it right now. Use the hashtag Walter Payton Man of the Year challenge. All right, time now, JD, for our Inactives List presented by Acadian Ambulance. Hot off the presses, here it is, JD. The two biggest names on this list is Patrick Robinson and Deontay Harris. Where do you think they'll make up for Deontay Harris on special teams, JD?
Well, last week it was Tommy Lee Lewis, so I expect the same to apply this week. Tommy Lee Lewis did a nice job of just handling the football against the Falcons. And of course, Patrick Robinson going on reserve injured. That means he'll be out a minimum of 3 games. And that hurts the Saints because he's really a good nickel and dime cornerback for this team. So that's where the fill-in is going to be. I don't know if it's going to be Justin Hardy or maybe Ken Crawley. We'll see how that goes.
Okay, now it is time for JD's favorite part of our Dome at Home. It is our score predictions fueled by Chevron. JD, I am going 27-10 with a Saints win. What do you got?
Well, I thought you would never ask. I'm 31-23, Saints. I believe Philly might get a little bit of offensive juice from Jalen Hurts to get to that 23, and I certainly believe the Saints are capable of getting to that 31 with Taysom Hill having another big game at quarterback.
Thanks as always for your analysis, JD. We'll check back with you in the post-game show. Let's check in with some Saints fans who are gearing up for game day using the hashtag Saints Game Day, presented by Coke. We are so close to kickoff, Saints fans. Saints versus Eagles is coming up. Don't forget to tune in on Fox at 3:25 Central to hopefully see a Saints win. Also, don't forget you can tune in right here for our Saints post-game show presented by Mercedes-Benz. We'll have the live press conferences of Sean Payton and any player who wants to come to the podium. Don't forget. All right, let's get you hyped, Saints fans.
Don't with the Rockets. Saints go get 'em.